What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in. Let me just make sure this is recording. Yes, it is. All right, so let's talk about the single best way to validate and verify that your emails that you scraped from Apollo or Crunchbase or LinkedIn or wherever else are actually valid and exist and won't send your cold emails to spam. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the tool I use, which is Mailtester Ninja. But first off, let's talk about why I use this in comparison to all the other popular tools out there. So first off, Mailtester.ninja. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't have any sort of affiliate program with them or anything like that. I just genuinely use this for my B2B lead generation agency, Vintascale, and I find that it works the best. I've used a bunch of other tools. It's just simply the most cost-effective tool out there while being highly accurate. I've never had a problem with this. I have record low bounce rates. It's like we average maybe 0.2, 0.3, definitely under 0.5% bounce rate. So our lists are super clean. I showed this to a client of mine during the onboarding process, and they were really impressed. So shout out to Mailtester Ninja. But let's get right into it. So why do you want to validate your emails? Well, if you're a total beginner, you want to validate your emails because a lot of times when you scrape emails from Apollo, so this is a clay table that I'm working in, for example, you'll get all these really nice contacts of decision makers, C-suite folks, so on and so forth. But a lot of times their email addresses, like these right here, are either catch-all email addresses or they're old or expired or they actually don't exist anymore. So Apollo, even though it says a lot of times that they're verified, they're actually really not. So you get old information. So one of the more popular ones is Zero Bounce, and rightfully so because they're really good. But let's just look at the pricing here, right? So I'm going to put this to monthly, and we are sending anywhere between 30,000 emails a month, something like that, maybe a little bit more. And so we're scraping email addresses all the time because if we're sending out, let's say 20,000 emails a month on the low end, right? You scrape 1,000 email addresses from Apollo, maybe 700 of those or 750 of those are actually good. So a good 25% of those email addresses are just not valid. Even if you select only scrape validated email addresses and no catch-alls in Apollo, you select that feature, it's still going to give you a bunch of BS email addresses. So we're scraping, if we're sending at least 1,000, 2,000 emails out per day, I mean, we're scraping a good 5,000 emails per day, if not 10,000. So this adds up really, really quickly, right? So let's just set this to, let's just set this to 50,000 emails, right? Because that's well within the range of number of email addresses that we scrape from Apollo using a tool called Apify. So if you're scraping 50,000 emails and you want to validate 50,000 emails with Zero Bounce, that's going to cost you $350 US per month, right? Let's just assume all the features are the same because they pretty much are with all these top tools. And you get validation, it's going to verify that they're not catch-alls, so on and so forth. They all pretty much do the same standard level of thing. And so a lot of times they're competing on price and also accuracy, right? So 50,000 emails, that's $350 per month. Another popular tool that people like to use in the lead generation space is Million Verifier. Full disclosure, I've never personally used Million Verifier, although I have heard a lot of good things. But let's just go to prices here. So, we're actually on prices. So for 100,000 emails, you get a one-time price of $129. But it's 100,000 fixed, meaning you have to re-up on this once you pass 100,000, and you're very quickly, if you're not already there yet, going to get to sending 1,000 emails per day. That should actually be your starting point, to be quite honest with you, which means you're scraping probably 2,000 emails per day, realistically, if you have a full-on agency going. So you can imagine very quickly how quickly you will run out of these credits, right? So let's just actually compare it to 100,000. So for 100,000 email addresses to validate, this is $89 per month. $89 per month for 100,000. Zero Bounce, $390 USD per month. Now, Zero Bounce does a lot of extra things. That's fine. But what do you really need? You really need to make sure that these email addresses are valid and they're not going to send you to spam, right? So let's just compare the base features because you're not going to use all that other stuff. Let's just be honest. So 350, did I get that right? $390 USD per month. Here it's 100,000 email addresses for $89 a month. That's Million Verifier. And now Mailtester Ninja, you can either pay $4 USD per week, and that gets you 100,000, right? So you're going from what used to be the cheapest option of $89 to $4 per week, or you can also do it per month. So instead of $89, you do $10 and you get that same 100,000 emails to be verified. I use the ultimate plan, which is $40 a month. That allows 500,000 emails daily, right? So this, you get up to 100,000 emails per month. Here, you get 100,000 emails daily, or 500,000 emails daily, right? You can also see the amount of API calls you can make. So, I mean, come on, like the price is a no-brainer, right? Now let's talk about how I actually integrate this into Clay. So I have a subscription, and this is really easy to set up. They give you some instructions, but what it looks like in Clay is you're going to make an API column, or you're going to press add in enrichment, and then you're going to press use AI, and then you're going to make a column. I'm going to assume you know your way around Clay for this video. If not, just leave a comment and I'll show you what the setup looks like. So this is what it looks like right here. I got to zoom out so you can actually scroll. All right. So what happens is you're going to put the mail tester URL right here. You're going to add the column. You're going to map the column with the email address right there. And then right after where it says token, you're going to paste in your key, and the key changes every 24 hours. So don't worry about stealing my key. We will be fine. And that's it. For custom rate limit, set this to 5 down here. You probably can't even see this because my face is blocking it. All right. So for custom rate limit, at the very bottom right corner of the screen, I'm going to zoom in for you. I set this to 5 where it says request limit. Then where it says duration, I set that to 1000 milliseconds. So that allows me to verify all these email addresses without error. And I'll show you what that looks like in practice and how easy it is. I've shown this in other videos, but let's just go through it. Sorry, I'm just trying to move my face here. Let's just go through it together so you can see how quickly you can verify thousands of email addresses. It literally takes a couple of minutes. So I'm going to hit save and don't run. Let's get out of here. All right. So there we go. So this column right here where it says HTTP API, that's the API integration with Mailtester Ninja. And I'm going to run the first 10 columns here, or 10 rows, excuse me. Starting from row 1. Right there. And full disclosure, I've already ran these rows, as you can see. Here, let's do these right here. Just run these 5 cells. There you go. So these are all accepted. I've also actually filtered out for ones that are rejected or ones that are accepted. So let me remove that filter so you can kind of see what kind of data it will give you. But yeah, validating 1,000 email addresses takes me, I don't know, less than 2 minutes with this. So you can see it'll show rejected, it'll show accepted, so on and so forth. The nice thing is you can also set up a formula in Clay to show you visibly whether it's a Google email address, a Microsoft email address, or other. So this is a formula right here. All right. And how I got that formula is just by typing this. So if MX, and I'll tell you what MX is in a second, if MX, which is like a data point in the HTTP API column, contains Google, then output Google. If it contains Outlook or Microsoft, then output Microsoft. Anything else, just output other, right? Sometimes you have private servers or SMTPs and stuff like that. So the data points you get when you validate these email addresses with Mailtester Ninja is you get the MX, which tells you if it's Google or not, or Microsoft or whatever it might be. You get the user, their email address as well, and the domain, and then if it was accepted, rejected, if it's spam, a catch-all, so on and so forth. So it'll show you accepted, it'll show you rejected, it'll show you if it has an error, which is not a good sign, and I'm looking for a catch-all. So it shows you if it's a catch-all or not anyway, or as well. So that's a catch-all right there. That's also a catch-all email address, which you don't want, so you can just easily filter out of those. So what I would do here, for the sake of keeping my table clean, is I would filter this deliverability column to only show email addresses that are valid, or that say accepted. That easy. Simple. So this is one of the easiest, fastest pieces of cleaning and enriching the data that I scrape from Apollo. That's it. It's that easy. And I pay $40 a month. You can definitely go on their $4 a week plan, which works out to about $16 a month, or this $10 a month plan, which is probably the better option if you're doing this at any sort of level, if you're sending anything more than 500 emails a day. All right, guys, so that's really it. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. Other than that, if you want us to either audit your campaigns or set up and manage your cold email campaigns and infrastructure for you, I'll leave the description to my website I'll leave the link to my website and my booking page in the description below, and you can just book a chat with me, and we can see how I can help, and if there's a fit, we can run through the math to see if that makes sense for your company. All right, guys, see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.